Hey everybody, this is Piper here, and welcome to another Rome Tour video. So in this video we're going to cover Horse Archers and Chariot Archers, and like the video did about the Heavy Cavalry and Light Cavalry, it's going to be my opinion on what the best Horse Archers in the game and what the best Chariot Archers are, and the strengths and weaknesses for each unit, and how they compare to the Chariots. So, like the other tutorial videos I've done, I've actually modded the game files and I've created an army that has all the chariots and all the horse archers together. And that means I can bring up the unit cards and we can look at each of the attributes for each one. Something that I'll say at the start, I'm doing two lists here. One list for horse archers, one list for chariots. The reason being, they're two different unit types, and they can be used in different ways. Chariots will beat the light cavalry in melee. However, the horse archers are actually better at skirmishing than the chariot archers. So take this as two different lists here. I've set this up to show the speeds as well. So you can see here there's a column 1 that'll be tier 1 speed. That includes all the horse archers there and the British light chariots. We've got tier 2, which is the Egyptian chariots. There's no other tier 2 units here. Tier 3 is the Chariot Archers, that's the Pontic Chariot Archers, with the Persian Cavalry and Scythian Nobles. This is also the speed of all the heavy cavalry in the game. And then we've got tier 4, which is the Cataphract Archers. So right, so we'll look at the Chariot Archers to start with. And this is looking at, basically, from a skirmishing perspective, looking at the stats, looking at each one. So I've put down Egyptian chariots, they're number 1. And they are tier 2. And they're very similar to the Pontic Chariot Archers. They have the same stats, cost the same and everything. But the Egyptian chariots are slightly faster. That could be a big advantage to have in a skirmish battle. So look at the unit card fast. So unit card, good morale, and they have hit points that have really bad defense, so it means they're really susceptible to missile fire. But they do have cantabrian circle, which is a big advantage when you're skirmishing. So these guys are number 1. Pontus has, put them down a second. They have the exact same stats. They have good morale, exact same defense skill and everything, but they're not as fast. And the key thing to remember about the Egyptian and the Pontic chariots is if you look at the actual unit, there's actually 2 archers on each chariot. See there, each chariot has 2 archers that can fire. So each chariot has 3 men, driver and 2 archers. If you look at the Bretonian chariots, the Bretonian chariots are actually faster than the Egyptian and the Pontic chariots, but they only have 1 archer. So that effectively means that the Egyptian and Pontic chariots can fire double the amount of arrows the Bretonian chariots can. And that also means that they actually get more arrows. They actually get a full 60 ammo per man, and the Bretonians get less. Look at Bretonian chariots quite fast too. They're actually called British light chariots, and they have excellent morale. They have some, I think they actually have a higher missile attack. They have a missile attack of 10. The chariots for Pontus and Egypt only have a missile attack of 9. So they're probably more useful in melee, but it's the fact that they only get 1 archer, which means that I class the Bretonian chariots as less important, less valuable than the Egyptian. If these guys are used in the right way, they can be very useful indeed, but I would actually consider these guys not as powerful. Just the fact they get less ammunition and there's only 1 archer per chariot. And last but not least, we have the Egyptian Chariot General, and these guys actually have really good melee stats, and they have a missile attack of 9. They have 5 hit points, which means they're very, very powerful in melee, but they don't have Cantabrian Cycle like the Bretonian Chariots and the Pontic and the Egyptian regular chariots. So in terms of skirmishing, these are very, very overpriced, and they're probably overpriced in melee as well. So if you're playing as Egypt and you want to bring 2 chariots for skirmishing in CWB, don't ever bring these chariots, they're too expensive. So that's that list done. We'll quickly look at the horse archers here, and again, this is purely based on stats. What I'll do is I'll summarise all this information at the end in a text document, and I'll give some pointers, some general advice on what I think about horse archers and chariot archers. So, number 1, the best horse archers have the best stats. Solely looking at horse archers, nothing else. We have the Cataphract Archers. These guys have very good defense, very good melee attack stats. Not as good. They kind of average on missile attack, and they have good morale. Obviously, we cover good morale stats versus other lights, and they're long range. So they're very expensive, but they do have a lot of features. In terms of looking at the regular Cataphract, these guys don't get a mace. So if you're looking to bring good Cataphracts to the game, don't bring these guys because you don't get a secondary mace. These guys are only good for like a weapons platform, firing off missiles. Okay in melee versus other lights, but against heavier cavalry, for example regular Cataphracts or Praetorians, be better off bringing Cataphracts. However, stats wise, these are number 1 in the horse archer list. Next we have Scythian nobles, and also point out Cataphract archers are the slowest horse archers in the game as well. These guys, they'll be tier 4, so they're the slowest in the game. Next we have Scythian nobles. So these guys are tier 3, which means they're the same speed as heavy cavalry, not as fast as the tier 1s, but to compensate for that, they have very good melee stats, they have good morale, good stamina, and they're also long range. So they're slightly more expensive than the bog standard horse archers. You don't get as much ammunition as the regular horse archers, but you do get the better stats here. So you should only bring these guys if you have a plan in mind, if you plan to use these guys at the end to get the melee stats. In terms of just skirmishing, they're not that good. Should point out, they have a missile attack of 8. So next we have Persian Cavalry. These guys also have tier 3 on the speed. Again, good melee stats, not as good as the Scythian nobles, but they have good morale and they're also long range. The drawback is they're not as fast and they're quite expensive, and they have a missile attack of 7. So next we have the usual horse archers. There's one elite horse archer, the Scythian Noble Women, but these are the horse archers you should be bringing to most games if you intend to skirmish. These ones are quite specialised, good on the stats, good on the melee stats, but you really need to have a plan in mind when you use these. So Scythian Noble Women, they're the only horse archer that has 18 troops, which means they have less ammunition than the regular. Look at the stats here, they're good morale, they have good melee stats, and they're also long range. They're tier 1, which means they're quite fast, however less troops, so they fire off less arrows. So in terms of the price, you do get better stats, but you only get 18 troops. So they're probably overvalued. They're probably not worth bringing to the game, but for 1 versus 1 purposes on the stats, they're number 4 in the list. And they will beat the rest of these horse archers in melee combat. So next we have Scythian Horse Archers. So these guys, they have good stamina. They have better melee stats than the Eastern Horse Archers. And they're tier 1. So if you look at here, they have total defense of 5. If you look at the Eastern Horse Archers, they only have total defense of 3. So they're much better regular horse archers than the Eastern. And I think they're actually slightly better than the Spanish mercenaries as well. So next on the list, there's Spanish mercenaries. Obviously, we covered Scythian Horse Archers, the better stats on the defense. Scythian mercenaries have the same stats as the Eastern Horse Archers. These guys are recruited by Dacia. But what makes these guys better, they're actually higher up in the list. They have good stamina, which means you could use these guys for melee afterwards. And all these horse archers get Cantabrian Circle. And what happens is Cantabrian Circle actually tires out the horses pretty fast. So having that good stamina is actually quite a good attribute to have. And last on the list we have horse archers. You have the horse archers here. They're actually Eastern, and they're recruited by Armenia and Parthia. And they're basically the same as Scythian mercenaries. They have the same stats, except they don't have the I think they don't have the morale. No, they don't have the stamina. Yeah, they don't have the stamina that the Eastern horse archers have. It's worthwhile mentioning that the chariots get 60 ammo per man, per man rather, which means the Bretonian chariots get less arrows. The standard horse archers that aren't long range get 40, and the long range archers get the regular horse archers get 40, and the elite archers that are long range get 30. So you can develop plans using long range horse archers. The chariot archers get more ammunition, and the regular horse archers get 40. So you can develop different plans here, but normally the best strategy to use when you're skirmishing is to bring the bog standard horse archers and use them to wear down the enemy archers. And what I'll do is I'll put all this in a text document at the end. You guys can refer back to it, so it's all amalgamated in one list. So that's the end of the video. I hope you guys have taken away some tips and advice. Maybe you've learned some information you didn't know before. Maybe you have a better idea now of how to skirmish in battles, or which units are the best in the game for horse archers. Again, this list is purely 1 versus 1 on the stats. It entirely depends on how these troops are used in battle. So thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. This is Piper signing off.